contradiction within the Trinity?
No,
So
that's just Jake's argument from the LPT for identity. It's the same thing.
okay.
Wait, what's the argument? Wait, now I want to get
Yeah,
involved.
his whole argument just revolves around the is of predication. That entire thing. I don't want to state it all over again because it breaks my brain.
I don't think you understand the argument. Then you can run the argument whether you take is of predication or is of identity.
Somebody catching the nosebleed up in here.
I'm saying that is of predication, that is of identity, just isn't a valid question because there's already loaded presuppositions in there. There's a loaded presupposition that can't be both either, which is a problem.
Wait, what's the presupposition?
There's a presupposition where he poses it as a dichotomy, where it's either is of what's it called, predication, or it's an is of identity. But he doesn't understand that there's multiple uses where you can use it in both ways as well simultaneously, which is how it's used at least.
Yeah, but that doesn't help the problem though. You can even if you want to say it's both an is of predication and is of identity, that just makes it even worse. Then God is going to be both a predicate and an entity, and so God is going to be both a property and a being, and that's going to give you another problem.
Again, that's going to be loaded on the presupposition on what are you addressing? Are you addressing the ontology of the being, or are you addressing the personhood of the being? That's different.
Wait, what's the difference between a person and a being?
There goes your first category error in Christianity. You're going to attack the Trinity and not know the difference between a person and a being when it comes necessarily to the Trinitarian distinction as defined by church history. Then we're going to have a serious problem there.
No, right? But I don't think. I just don't think you're tracking hypostasis and physis is like very vague in church history. For example, the Chalcedonians take that to be different from the Miaphysites.
Well, the Miaphysites.
You say there's like the problem is if you want to say
which I deem as damned as well. So I mean, I don't.
Yeah, I don't. Look, the thing is, you can tell any metaphysical story that you like. The problem is going to be the following: if you use is of identity, you're going to be slapped by transitivity. If you use is of predication, then you're going to be slapped by the way we count things. So you're either going to end up with the Father being the Son, or you're going to be slapped with the three gods.
I negate that entirely from the get-go, but.
Then you're just denying classical logic.
No, it's not denying classical logic. It's denying faulty presuppositions. That's about it.
Wait, so
no, you're denying past, present, and future. That's what he's denying.
Hold on. Just have safe and bets for the moment, please.
Yeah, let's just run through the argument, right? Do you believe there's exactly one God?
I'm not going to run through the LPT, bro. I already explained it out to you.
Wait, why? No, you didn't explain shit. You didn't explain shit.
I explained on what premise I disagreed with it on. I explained what position.
All right, so which premise do you deny of the which premise? So let me run the argument, and then you tell me which premise you deny, right? So like the first premise is there's exactly one God. That's going to be cashed out logically as for all x if x and y. Sorry, for all x and y, if x is God and y is God, then x is identical to y. They're just like monotheism, right? That's premise 1. Premise 2 is Jesus is not identical to the Father. Premise 3 is Jesus is God and the Father is God. Now, which of those premises do you deny?
Repeat premise 1.
Premise 1 is monotheism. There's exactly one God, which is to say that like for all x and for all y, if x is God and y is God, then x is identical to y. And that's just to say we count by identity.
Again,
because we deny.
I would deny premise 1.
Right, then you're just denying monotheism then.
No, I would deny premise 1 on the fact that it's loaded with an Islamic notion of monotheism, not an actual.
I don't know why you're saying Islamic. I'm not like a Muslim. Look, I'm not like a Muslim. All I'm saying is if you say there's exactly one thing of anything, not like even God, anything, regardless anything, the way you would cash it out is in the form of for all x's and for all y's. If x is the one, there is the predicate of which there's only one thing, and y is that same thing, then they're identical. That's just how the logical form of there's exactly one thing is. So unless you want to say monotheism isn't the view that there's exactly one God, then you can't deny premise 1. And premise 2 is just that Jesus is not identical to the Father. That's not controversial. And premise 3 is Jesus is God and the Father is God. And that's all you need to generate a contradiction in classical logic.
No,
and I can run you through the rules of inferences and the deductions.
Again, no, I've already listed where I disagree.
So which premise do you deny? Do you deny monotheism or do you deny that Jesus is identical to the Father?
And here come the presuppositions yet again. I'm not going
to deal
with it.
Is it different? There's no presuppositions here. I gave you 3 premises.
I already told you. It's a loaded argument with presuppositions.
No. There's no load.
You're beating a dead horse right here.
Hold on. There's no load. There's no presuppositions. There's nothing. There's like 3 premises. These 3 premises are things that the Christian accepts. The first premise is there's exactly one God. The second premise is Jesus is not identical to the Father. The third premise is Jesus is God and the Father is God. Which of those do you deny?
Is there something wrong with what he's saying, Bubs? I mean, it seems like what he's...
I already said that I reject the first premise, and then from there on, I've already discussed this at extent enough.
Right, so you reject there's exactly one God.
No, I don't reject that. I'm not gonna get into it.
Okay, well, hold on. Let me ask you, because he might leave saying I don't want to leave, but hold on, Buzz, because I know, like, so did you address it with him before, or you've addressed it in writing or something, or what are you saying?
With multiple other people, more specifically Khalil and Jake, when they kept bringing it up about a year ago.
Is that recorded or something? Because maybe that would be good for...
That one's not recorded, but Jake has a couple more discussions recorded on the LPT. I think he has one with James White, I'm pretty sure. That one I watched, I think. That was fine. The whole Trinity versus Toby discussion was interesting.
It just sounds like he's denying monotheism and just denying there's exactly one God. Unless you can show me how there's exactly one God doesn't logically just translate to for all x and for all y, if x is God and y is God, then x is identical to y.
Is it just too much, Bubs? You said it hurt your brain. Is it just too much of a thing to go through
No,
right
I'm
now?
So like either you have an
just like 7 a.m. over here, and I've gone through this argument for like months in a row.
He's catching a
Over and over
nosebleed.
again.
Don't beat a dead horse.
First of all, why are you talking? You're retarded.
I just wanna. Well, I mean, Bubs, you're not much smarter than him right now, so like you shouldn't be calling anybody retarded with all due respect.
Lord Jesus.
And the second
Lord
thing,
Jesus, you guys are wild.
Well, yet
and the
again,
second thing is, if
like,
there's exactly one God,
retarded, first of all. So like,
yeah, I mean, like,
contentious when you get slammed by me in the group 24/7 when you come into our room for what you're talking about.
wait, when did I ever come to? Hold on, when did I ever come to your rooms?
Tyler, Anson, Kyoto, they all body slam you on a regular, so I don't want to
Wait,
hear
when did I ever talk to any of those individuals?
No, you've been in the rooms consistently. I see you pop in. Right now.
I come to the rooms. I don't debate them. I don't debate
on
them on
points in the
anything.
comments. You'll throw like a
Wait, what was
here and there in the
what
comments.
was something that we debated on? Wait, what was something that I debated them on?
This was one of the topics on the LPT. You brought up the LPT before. Unless I'm mistaken you with a different saint that's come up with the same name.
Wait, I mean, I don't call talking to them on the LPT, but like
Unless I'm genuinely mistaking you, and if I am, I apologize. Right now,
I think you're just I don't go to Protestant rooms 24/7. I mean, like, right? So I think you just confused me with somebody else.
It's probably
So,
not him, 'cause we haven't
yeah,
seen
so, I mean, just to be clear, I would like.
If I confuse you with somebody else, my apologies.
Just to be clear, there's nobody on this app that could body slam me on anything. So that's the first thing. The second thing is the challenge that I'm putting you forward.
That's what you think. But
if you
I'll let
just
you live.
well, anybody.
You can have a crack at it, Galaxy, if you want.
And Rob,
No, I'm not trying to like. There's nothing interesting for me to debate on right now. But I'm just saying that's what you think. That's what you think.
Look, Rob,
so please do not even start. Do not even start with them because I will come.
Hold on.
But Galaxy, you a Muslim or are you atheist?
Galaxy,
listen, it don't matter. I'm not speaking to you, Emma. You are the most irrelevant person to even be having a conversation with me. Like,
I love you
so
too,
please,
Galaxy.
Hold on. One thing at the Galaxy, me and you we can debate, right? And I'm not saying it for myself. My claim can be vouched by Rob speakers, it can be vouched by Daniel Nero, it can even be vouched by like people who dislike me, like Matt Adams or John Lee, or even Andrew. I think Andrew likes me actually, but he can vouch for that claim, right? I'm like one of the most prominent debaters on this app, right? So I'm not like a nobody.
For the record, I think I could body slam you, depending on the topic. I think I could body.
No, I don't think so.
Hey,
Matt
but
Adams. I'll tell you what, Matt Adams. Matt Adams, out of all the atheists that debate, who do you think is like the best?
Hey, Saint, you're
I
a
would
powerful
say
person.
Tell me this.
Hold on, let Matt Adams. Hold on. Let Matt Adams.
I think Rapper Jack.
Let Matt answer. Go ahead, Matt.
Out of all the
Go ahead,
atheists,
Matt.
I think Saint is the best, but I think I could still body slam Saint on certain topics.
Thank you.
And I
Matt
thought you were
Adams.
going to say.
I think out of the people I've interacted with, I'm going to throw out just people as honorary mentions. Rab, Rascal, Altoid.
Rab is like a horrible debater. What are you talking about? It's like a white belt.
Hey, which one of you guys?
horrible debater.
But which
Rab
one
is
of
a
you guys
horrible
is it?
debater.
Which one of you guys is trapped in another world? In between two
listen.
worlds?
Why is this guy still talking? I don't understand.
I like Mr.
on the point that you're the one in a different world here. I think me saying Galaxy are on the same
He's
channel.
definitely in a different world because he's not in
I was like,
our
But
reality.
can at least agree on that.
Hold on.
Jeez.
Hold on. So like, I just want to like back that up. But going back to the argument, look,
Yeah, go ahead.
like the problem. Look, I mean, we can go through attempted solutions, whether it's like social Trinitarianism or relative identity Trinitarianism or like one-self Trinitarianism or like Kuhn's for identity Trinitarianisms. That's like fine. I can run you through the problems with like each proposed solution. But the problem that I'm running now is like, it's just like trivially so that like if you hold monotheism the way it's cashed out in natural language by saying there's exactly one of anything, just translates to for all x's and for all y. If x is whatever there's one of and y is what there's exactly one of, then x is identical to y. We're just applying that formula here to like God. So like either you have to deny monotheism or you have to deny that Jesus is not identical to the Father. You have to deny that Jesus is God and the Father is God. And each of those are going to be like problematic within like the Trinitarian worldview. That's all the argument is.
Well, hopefully, Saint might be able to get to Blake about that, because I'm not sure if there's any Christian on here that can really say that to you. So, but maybe Blake will get in.
Yeah, I think that'll be a good conversation. But real quick, I was just going to say, Bubs. I mean, normally, obviously, Mr. kept making jabs about he's in the nosebleed, and all that stuff, and so like I kind of just turnabout's fair play kind of thing. But normally that would be okay. But
Hey, but I'm glad I'm not the monkey's uncle.
I don't know what that means, Mister. But I'm glad you.
I mean, whatever that is, you probably are.
What's funny is actually Bubs actually.
That's okay. I'll be a monkey's uncle.
Yeah,
Bubs actually understands better than anybody on stage. I think Bubs understands it
If
better.
you were my uncle, you'd be better than maybe one of your parents because the uncle would still be alive.
Like don't be insulting. Look, I think actually like the funny thing with like the logical problem of the Trinity, I think there are actually candidates as solutions.
Like what?
Like for example, like partialism would be one solution.
No.
I think there are like modalist solutions that are not like whatever like taken to be heresies. I think Sabellianism is taken to be a heresy, but there are like
Anything that's not Trinitarianism is taken to be heresy.
Yeah, but those will still be Trinitarianism.
No,
I think there are. So just to be clear, I think there are some solutions. It's just that those solutions are really unattractive for like most Christians.
Hey, so real quick, Adam's here. Adam, are you there?
Hey, Andrew, how's it going?
Hey, good man. Do you think the Trinity is a contradiction based on the law of transitivity?
No, if you just say that the relationship between the persons and the essence is one of predication and not identity, then you don't get that contradiction.
No, you still get the problem there.
What's the problem?
Oh, you're still gonna get three gods by how you count.
Oh,
We've gone through this, Adam. You hold to
yeah,
like partialism. We've gone through this. Come
so
on.
partialism would be the only solution to
Exactly.
get
Yeah.
that. But we wouldn't call them
question-
parts, Saint. You would call them like members of the divine entity, right? Members of the being of God.
Well, the point is like none of them are sufficiently God. It's just that in conjunction they're going to be.
No,
God.
they're fully God in the predicative sense, right? In terms
No, that wouldn't be correct. There would be parts of God. There wouldn't be full gods. Your hand isn't Adam by the predicative sense. Your hand is like part of you. We predicate your hand of you. Your hand.
No, Saint. But you missed Chad McIntosh's explanation, right? He would say no. Each member of the corporation, like he uses the corporation example, right? Each member of the corporation is fully human, right? So in the sense, each member of
each member, look, the secretary
would be fully God, right? Would be fully divine, having the full divine essential properties.
No, that wouldn't follow. Look, God here in Chad McIntosh's view is the corporation, right?
The Godhead.
But the idea with this version of social Trinitarianism is that like God is like a corporation in America for you Americans.
Yes.
Like when you sue, you can sue like a corporation. A corporation is treated like a person, like an individual, like a functional person in the law and so on, right? And so his idea is just like God is analogical to the corporation, but the point is like the secretary or the mailman or the CEO.
No, but
they're not the corporation.
But the interest persons, right? The people who make up the corporation, these are fully human, and for God, these will be fully.
Yeah, but none of them are identical to the corporation. They only make up corporation
sure, but they
as an aggregate.
No, but they possess the full divine essential properties, right? And so they would possess the divine essential properties, each divine person, and the divine entity would possess the divine persons, right?
No, but the point is like it's the three persons that make up God. None of them individually would be identical to God.
But so that's in the nominal sense, but in the practical sense, each would be fully God, right?
Yeah, but then you get three gods then.
No, because you have one entity, one corporation, right? Or one.
No, but you would still have three gods then if you want to say each is God. That's just bring back the problem you're trying to avoid.
Say it because you wouldn't, because you would still have one functional person, one group.
No, but look,
one being. So you would have three persons, each person being fully God, but one being, right, that possesses the three persons. So the
no. Look. This is like Branson. Look, Branson. You know who Branson is, right?
Branson? Oh, Bo Branson, yeah.
Right. This is what he says, Bo Branson. This is what he says, and this is the problem because I don't think you're getting the problem. What he says is, today we count F's. And F's head is the predicate. You can think of F's as like God or whatever. Today we count F's by logical subjects that are discernible from one another. And discernible means that by Leibniz's law, they would be non-identical.
Yes.
That are discernible from one another and are F's. That is, if X and Y differ in any way, and this is Branson speaking, not me, if X and Y differ in any way, and both are F, we count them as two F's.
That's correct.
Let's apply to this God. Today we count God by logical subjects. These are going to be the persons that are discernible from each other. They're discernible from each other.
No, but it's not going to be by the persons. It's not going to be by the persons.
It doesn't matter. They're going to be discernible because there's
yes, they will be discernible. So there are three persons. We agree.
Right, but like the point is, yeah, but the F here is God.
No,
right?
So the F here, no. So the F here.
You said God. You just said no.
The person. Yeah, the F.
No. But you said you're predicating godhood of them, right? Hold on. You said if we take God to be a predicate, now the F here we're inputting God, not persons. We're inputting God. Today we count God by logical subjects that are discernible from one another. Are the persons of the Trinity discernible from one another? Absolutely. Yes. Why? Because the Father is unbegotten, the Son is begotten, and the Holy Spirit is proceeding. Those are properties that they uniquely possess, making them discernible. And each are God. That is if X and Y, that is if the Son and the Father differ in any way, which they do, one is begotten, the other is unbegotten, and are both God, we count them as two gods. This is how we count in everyday language, as two gods. And this is something Branson himself concedes to, that in everyday way of counting, we count by discernibility. The three persons are discernible. Each of them, you can predicate God of them, you get three gods.
No, you're mistaken, Saint. You're mistaken here. Because Pope Branson's models are incredibly different, right?
He's giving you a solution. He's giving you a solution to this, but he grants this because everybody. Sorry,
Saint, but we said so the F's would be the persons, right?
No, you're missing the point. Look, you're missing the point. The reason why why Branson is saying this, he's giving. Branson's monarchical form of the Trinity, he's trying to solve this problem.
Well,
the reason why he's saying
because you cannot have numerically one mind for the three persons.
I don't think his solution. The only solution that I think solves it is true partialism. That doesn't try to play around the corners. That says yes, none of them are God.
But that's not Chad McIntosh's view, though, Saint. Because Chad McIntosh would tell you that each person is fully God in the predicative sense, not in the nominal sense. In the nominal sense, they're members of the nominal God, right? But in the predicative sense, they're fully God.
Right, but when you're saying but once you add the predicative thing, you're going to get this problem here.
What problem?
The problem that Branson is laying out, which anybody is going to point out, we count by discernibility. And if the predicate is God, because you just said in the predicative sense.
Yeah, because there is no nominal sense in Branson's model.
There's no such thing. Hold on, there's no such thing as a nominal sense in this sense. In that sense, in logic, there's no senses.
No. So the problem is there's no being, right, in the Branson's model. Like you just
you don't need being. You don't need that. Look, the point is, as long as God is a predicate, that's sufficient to get the problem.
So there are two senses of God, though, Saint, right? So it depends on which sense we're talking about.
Right. So whatever sense you predicate of the Son, that's going to be enough to create a problem. Because here's the point: if you say the Son is God and the Father is God, but the Father is not absolutely identical or numerically identical or classically identical, you would have two. That's just how we count. That's just like how we count.
But two divine persons who are God, right? Two divine persons who are God, right? So it's sort of like me and you saying two persons who are human, but right? But in terms of
but look, if I'm human and you're human, and the funny thing is, Gregory, the funny thing is, like, there's like this passage going back to Gregory of Nyssa, and I'm sure you're like familiar with it, where
No, but Saint, I just want to make a point here. But there would still be a difference between person and being, right? So there would be one existence, one
sure,
being.
but look,
So they would be.
well,
Saint, one second. So you could say they would be, quote unquote. I don't like using this word. According to Jack McIntosh, parts of the being, but they're fully God in the practical sense. But in terms of here's the trick he's trying to play. He's trying to play that being part of. So he wants to say that like there's. So I understand him fully. Hold on. Here's what I suspect he's trying to do, right? What he's trying to do is something like this, right? There's like a corporation. There's no corporation actually. It's an analogy. It's not actually a corporation. But like what he's saying is like there's three individuals that make up God, and that's one sense of God. Yes. But then there's this other sense of God, which is conferred to each member of the Trinity by being member in the first sense, right? I understand it, but the problem is once he does the second thing, you're gonna get three gods by discernibility.
Hey, Saint, what's your definition of predicate?
A predicate is really like a primitive logical notion, but the closest thing you could like compare it to is something like properties. If I say, for example, I assume you like black, so like black would be a predicate. We would Mr. M would be the subject, and Mr. M is black, and Mr. M is the subject, and black is the predicate. We're saying that some property is true of you. That's what a predicate is going to be.
Yeah, but say so you're saying according to Chad McIntosh's view, it's tritheism.
I think you can save it if you drop the latter part, because if you include the latter part, it's going to be tritheism, which is kind of interesting because, and this is not just me talking this way. Richard Swinburne believes in the social trinity, and he has a paper, I can send you, it's called Could There Be More Than One God? And in that paper, Swinburne just admits that in one sense there are actually three gods. He just agrees with that, right? And so this isn't something, and this is also something that Branson, who himself adopts like a monarchical version of the Trinity, says that yes, we do count in everyday notions by this sense.
No, but the monarchy of the Trinity is different, right? The monarchy of the Trinity.
I'm not talking about the monarchy. I'm saying Branson and Swinburne both would agree with me. And these are like people who hold to the Trinity. Because in everyday notions, we count by identity. That is classical identity. If I can make a difference, as long as one has a property, the other doesn't, we get two individuals. That's all that's needed to count them as two.
But that's not how we count gods, though. It's not by persons, right?
Yeah, but now what you want to say, look, here's your solution. And this is the solution that social Trinitarians, relative Trinitarians want to hold, and others. They want to say that when it comes to God, we want to adopt a different convention of counting. So, for example, relative identity Trinitarians, what they want to say. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, relative identity.
Right, relative. Just to give you an example, I know you hold to social Trinitarianism, but like relative identity, like Michael Ray and others, what they want, and Swinburne and William Lane Craig and others, what they want to say is something like this, right? That is the relative identity people, not the social Trinity people. Sorry, so the social Trinity people are Craig and others. The relative identity are like Michael Ray and others. The relative identity people, what they want to say is that here we don't want to count by identity, we want to count by sortal predicates. Right. So even if there's a discernibility, we're still going to count by sortal predicates. And so because they're all identical with respect to divine essence or divine being, we're going to count them as one God. But here's the problem. Here's where it gets beautiful. If we don't adopt their convention and we stay to the normal convention, you're going to get three gods. So what does that mean? That by the normal convention of counting, it is tritheism, but the newly adopted convention for relative identity, you get one God. So in one sense, they are polytheists, they are tritheists, there are three gods, and this is what the Muslim's going to hold, this is what the atheist is going to hold, this is like what the non-Christian is going to hold. But the Christian is going to say, no, we have our own way of counting, and under our own way of counting, there's like one God. And this is like what you're trying to do here as well, because by the normal, everyday way of counting by identity, you're going to get three gods by this picture. Because as long as you have discernibility, you have individuality, and as long as you have individuality, you have numbering. So if there's like,
Saint, I don't get how, like the numbering is in the persons, right? And we agree with that. But
the numbering is in persons and in gods, because
but But we don't equate back the two, right? We still make a distinction.
Absolutely, there's three persons and there's three gods. You're not equating them.
There are three divine persons who are God in the predicative sense, but not in the nominal sense, right?
Hold on. There's no such thing as a nominal sense.
So there are two senses. No. So what Chad McIntosh will tell you, there are two senses, right? So in one sense, yes, there are three divine persons who are each God, right?
When we say each is God, hold on. That's an important part. When we say each is God, is there of predication or is of identity?
Predication.
Is of predication. Is the Son begotten?
Yes.
Is the Father begotten?
No.
That entails there are two gods there. Deductively. Not what I think deductively, because by this you have discernibility, and by discernibility, the way we count, you get them as two. And that's not what I'm saying, that's what Branson is saying.
If it was used in the nominal sense, not in the predicative sense, right?
This is in the predicative sense, because as long as you say the Son is God, the Father is God, the Son is begotten, the Father is not begotten, you get two gods. That's all you need to get two gods. That's all you need. You don't need anything else. That's all you need. That's why I'm telling you, if you want to get out of this problem, drop the talk about each being fully God. Drop that. Say each is a part of
the problem is now then basically you're saying in Chad McIntosh's view there are three gods inside.
Modify the view.
Three gods inside of one God.
Yeah, modify the view. Drop the talk about each being fully God. Stick with each is a part of God, and you're gonna avoid this problem. Right? Hold like Craig's view. Craig would fully embrace this. Craig would fully embrace this. But like, go ahead.
Yeah, oh, really? Wait, Saint, really? William Lane Craig would embrace that? Is that what you're saying?
Not only Craig, but also Alvin Plantinga also holds it. And actually, they're sort of been criticized because the reason why they've sort of been criticized is because there's like this criticism in the literature called Plantingian Arianism, and the idea is that planting a soda like under his version of the Trinity wants to say the Father is God, but the Son is God in a derivative sense. And so it's like making a distinction on how the Father is God and the Son is God. And this is like analogous to the Arians, because the Arians also held that Jesus is divine. They just hold his divinity to be lesser than that of the Father.
Wow.
But,
Okay.
right, but like Craig would say, like each is like part of the Trinity. Each is a part of the Trinity. Not each is God, but each is
No, but
part
Craig
of the
would make
Trinity.
this would also say that each is fully God in the sense that they possess the full divine essential properties, right? But they are part of the being of God.
They can't be both part and fully God. That's just going to be a contradiction.
Because
It's like me saying your hand is.
But
It's like me saying you're like your hand and you're fully you. Plus, that's the first problem. That's the first problem. The second problem is by counting, you're still going to get 3 gods. If my hand is if my hand is Venus and it's a part of Venus, and my foot is Venus and part of Venus, but the hand is different than the foot, then you're just going to get 2 Venuses. That's just how we count things.
How about fully divine and fully man, Saint?
Now we're talking about Jesus' nature.
Correct.
About the
Correct.
Trinity.
Jesus' nature.
Oh, no, we don't have an issue.
And that's another problem, because that's another beautiful problem.
No, but Saint, you wouldn't have an issue with us, right? With our Christology, right?
Actually, there is a problem, but it's a different type of problem that plagues the Chalcedonians. The Chalcedonians have like a big problem. I absolutely agree with you. The Chalcedonians have a catastrophe, but the Coptics and our Oriental brothers as well have another problem because of monothelitism.
Oh, we believe in meathelitism, Saint, right? Not monothelitism.
But the problem is you believe there's one will, right?
No, we believe there's a one divine human will of 2 wills, the same because it's a property of the nature. So it's one divine human nature of 2 natures, one divine human will of 2 wills.
Hold on. But like the Trinity, does it have one will?
Yeah, so it depends on your view, right? I mean,
no, I'm talking about the Coptic. I'm talking about
in Chad McIntosh's view, he'd say 3 in relative identity.
No, but he's not Oriental Orthodox. Monothelitism is a heresy in the Catholic tradition.
Yeah, it's also a heresy for us. Right? Yeah.
No, it's not. You guys
believe in meathelitism, not mono.
Okay, Mia. Okay, sorry. Well, Mia is like a subset of mono, but in Mia.
No, because monothelitism, you would say there's one divine human will. In meathelitism, you would say there's one divine human will. It's a composite will of 2.
No. Mono is just going to be one will, and then there's going to be subsets. Like just like mono, just like Mia Fittest, like you guys are
okay.
Mia. It's like a category of it, right? And there's like other categories. But like in your category, you just believe there's like one will.
One divine human will, yes.
Yeah, one divine human will. Mm-hmm. But the Father, the Holy Spirit, and the Logos only have one will, right?
Okay, so we can go with that. Okay, fine, yeah.
Okay, but does the Son know something that the Father doesn't know?
Does the Son know? No.
So everything the Father knows, the Son knows?
Yes.
Okay. Does the Son know? Okay, I see. So you want to say that everything that the Son knows, the Father knows. Okay. Does the Son know? Hold on. Does the Son know that he is? Sorry. What was your question?
No, I said, isn't there like a problem of indexicals there? That like.
Oh yeah, we talked about the same before, right?
I personally don't think the indexical thing is a problem because, and here is why, Hodi. I think indexicals is a linguistic notion, not a propositional notion.
Yeah.
I have a question.
If I say I am Venus, and Hodi, you say you are Venus, I think it expresses the same proposition.
Saint, can I read for you 2 sentences from Saint Athanasius for the Trinity? I think he would be talking about the relative identity as well. If I can take your analysis for like 10 seconds.
No, that's fine. But like even relative identity has the same problem I'm talking about here. Even relative identity is going to get 3 gods.
Pure relative identity.
Pure relative identity doesn't have this problem. But pure relative identity,
or you can even say impure relative identity at the sublogic, not at the meta.
Yeah, but we care about the greater logic, not the.
No. Even the sub is sufficient. Michael Ray even says the sublogic is sufficient.
No, because he's criticizing Van Inwagen because Van Inwagen can make it consistent in the sublogic, but not in the greater logic. What we care about is the greater classical logic.
Sure. So then I would adopt pure relative identity.
Right, but then you're rejecting classical logic. Sure. But this is no better than just adopting paraconsistent logic.
Or I can adopt paraconsistent logic, yes.
Exactly. Look,
I actually believe in it, Saint. I told you before, I believe in paraconsistent logic.
Right, but what you were trying to come here,
by the way, for other reasons.
That's fine. Like if you adopt paraconsistent logic, you don't have a problem. The logical problem of the Trinity is the following argument. In classical logic, the Trinity is either a contradiction, or you adopt modalism, or tritheism, or partialism. That's the argument. If you adopt partialism, you're not saying the argument fails. You're just saying, yes, true, I have to adopt partialism, or I have to adopt modalism, or I have to adopt tritheism, or I have to adopt a contradiction. And when you adopt a contradiction, you're saying it's a contradiction, but I'm going to make sense of it in paraconsistent logic. So actually, the argument of the logical problem of the Trinity is actually sound. You're agreeing with the argument. You're just saying I'm taking one of the solutions, which is the contradiction solution, and I'm just going to make sense of it in a paraconsistent logic. You're not saying that the argument fails.
I want you to know what do you think of this.
Right.
Neither can we imagine 3 subsistences separated from each other as results from their bodily nature in the case of men, lest we hold a plurality of gods like the heathen. But just as a river produced from a well is not separate, and yet there are in fact 2 visible objects and 2 names, for neither is the Father the Son, nor the Son the Father, for the Father is the Father of the Son, and the Son of the Father. But like as the well is not the river, nor the river a well, both are one and the same water, which is conveyed in a channel from the well to the river.
That's beautiful.
So that's the relative identity, basically.
No. That's beautiful. But you know what that is? That is Brian Leftow's model of the Trinity, which is a one-self model of the Trinity, which you would condemn as modalism.
No, but under classical identity, you would say these are 2 objects, right? These are 2 gods, basically.
No. It would be like
because a river is not the well.
look, his example would be like the time travel example. This is Brian Leftall's basis his form of the
I
Trinity.
thought this would be a relative identity though, because
no. This is like, look, what Brian Leftall's model of the Trinity is called the divine life streams. And he's basing it exactly on Aquinas is saying that, and he's also saying that he's calling it the Latin model because he's saying like this view goes back to like Augustine and and what's beautiful, if you read his paper, he's quoting Athanasius, and he's quoting that very passage that you're quoting to back the Latin model, which he attributes to Augustine and Anselm and who was the third one? And Aquinas, and there's one more doctor of the church from the Latin. I forgot his name. Doesn't matter. But those are one-self models.
We would say that the river and the well are the same water but distinct forms. Wouldn't that be pure relative identity to say that?
If you interpret him that way, that would be relative identity.
Yeah, so that's why.
But the problem is, here's the problem, right? Sorry, what was the two things? It was the what?
The river and the well having the same water. So to be the river and the well would be relative. So they would be the same water.
No, I think no. I think that's a really bad example. I think the better one is just a lump of clay and the statue of David.
My PTR says it all. My PTR says it all.
I think that's a. Sorry, Mr. I think you're on the planet and you're kind of confused now. But and also, why isn't that the founder of Nation of Islam that you have in your PTR?
Hey, my PTR says it all. The relative nature is all of them. All of them have black mothers and fathers, except for the one in the middle was half Caucasian and half black.
There you go. Yeah, this guy has his own Trinity.
That's what. So what's the definition of relatively? What did y'all say? Relative identity. What's that definition? Is that considered same bloodline, same species? How do y'all define that?
I told you guys we needed to keep Mister. I told you.
That's so funny. But anyways, yeah, Adam Coptic.
What's wrong with the Christology? What's wrong with the Christology?
Hey, I'm just a baby. I'm just a baby.
I'll send you some resources you can read.
We don't believe in monothelitism, though. We believe in meathelitism.
Yeah, I know.
So to me, it's like asking, is there one nature in the Trinity? We would say yes. Well, what about the Son's nature? It's a one divine human nature, right? So it's the same question you were asking for the will, right?
Well, the problem is there's going to be like two wills for the Son.
Yeah, we believe in two wills, one will of two wills, right?
You believe in a composite will of two wills, but that's still two wills.
No, it's a numerically one. That's the metaphysics of. So it's the same thing with the substance. You're having a composite substance of two, right? You get numerical oneness for the substance in the composite.
Yeah, but even, as long as you say it's composite, you're saying there's two things. And if there's
but it's a numerically one. But you get numerical oneness though in the substance.
Numerical oneness doesn't really make sense. The point is you have one composite, just like we have one atom. You have numerically one atom, but you still have two hands and 2 feet and a heart. Numerically there's one atom, but there's still two hands. Sure. It's not going to be false that there are two hands. So there's numerically one composite will, but there's still two wills, just like there's two hands.
But it's a numerically one will, and that's what you're right. And so you still get the one will, even though there are two wills.
You get the numerically one composite of wills, yes. Right, that's correct. But like, look, you have a composite atom. Atom is one thing, right? Atom Coptic is one thing. But you wouldn't say there are not two hands, right? There's still two hands.
Yeah.
Right. So there are two wills, but there's one composite will.
Yes.
And Mia, I know you wanted to say it's not Mia thelitism, but it's Mia, not mono, but Mia thelitism.
That's correct.
But you're still going to get two wills there.
Sure.
And once you have two wills, I think that's going to be.
No, you get one composite will, and so you get one composite person.
It's a bit tricky because the tricky thing is the following, right? The church fathers, they never use the word mind, right? They use the word will, not mind.
No, they also use the word mind, right?
As far as I know, the word will is more.
So if for Apollinarianism, right? Saint Athanasius said, "Whoever denies that Christ has a human mind, let him be anathema."
Right. So do you believe the Trinity only has one mind?
Yeah, no. The Son would have a one composite mind.
Yeah, they got one mind. So
the Trinity would have one mind. Yes, the Trinity would have.
So you believe? So yeah, right. So you believe there's only one mind. That's going to be really problematic because
it's hard to do, but it can be done.
Right. It's going to be tricky with like one mind. And I was trying to save you from that trouble by saying that the church fathers really never employed the notion of mind.
Oh, will and mind would be the same, right?
Well,
yes.
Some might argue that. But here's the problem, right? Is there things that the Father knows that the Son doesn't know? Like, here's another way to put the argument. In virtue of what do you have? Hold on. Here's another way to put the problem, right? If you believe there's one God but three persons, in virtue of what is there not three gods but one person? What's the symmetry breaker between the two?
No, can you say that again, Saint? Sorry.
So the problem is once you have this notion of just one mind, you're going to get the following problem. Why is it that you have three persons and one God instead of three gods and one person?
Three gods and one person?
Yeah, there's not going to be a symmetry breaker. Because there's no way now to differentiate the persons from each other. You can say, well, one is begotten, the other is unbegotten, but why does that make them individual persons? Because persons typically understood in a modern term, and I understand that like hypostasis might be a different notion than how we use person today in modern language, but person is usually a mind being.
We've discussed this before, Saint. We've discussed this, right? When we said, can there be a numerically one mind for three persons, right?
Right, but then there's going to be three minds that make up some kind of a super mind. But you don't believe there's three minds. You believe there's just one mind.
What if there's three minds?
Then you solve the problem. Then you can have three persons. But then the problem is that going to be a heresy or not? If you say there's like three minds, right?
Why is that a heresy?
Because the orthodoxy always holds to like a one will view.
One will. No, why? Why can't there be three wills, three minds?
I'm pretty sure that's a creed, though. If you don't have that as a creed,
No, it's not a creed.
If that's not a creed, if it's not a creed that there's one will, and I know there's been like a debate between Hasker and who was the other guy? It's been like a huge debate in the Trinity between Hasker and so William Hasker believes in three wills.
Okay.
Right, but he's been in like a debate with somebody. I forgot his name.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Yeah, what's going on? It's not Branson. It's not Branson, but like it's one guy who holds exactly the same view as Branson holds. It was
Brian
Timothy
Mullen,
something.
maybe?
No. It was Timothy something. Timothy something. Timothy something.
And what was the problem, Saint?
The problem is that Hasker's view is always criticized. The response to it is that it is a heresy because the creed always because there is something in the creedal history. And if I'm mistaken about this, then I don't think you might have a problem because you can just say there's three minds. But as far as I know, it is orthodoxy that there's only one will for the Trinity. There are not three wills, but there's one will of the Trinity. And if will is the same thing as mind, then it is a creed that there's only one mind. And if there's only one mind, you can't have three persons. But you still need, and this is going to be a new logical problem of the Trinity. This is not
I don't know where's this creed, right? I know all the creed. Maybe this is in the creeds in the councils after the council of Chalcedon, right?
Maybe
I've studied all the councils up to Chalcedon. I didn't study the other councils, and so because I'm an Oriental Orthodox.
Look, even Coptic is agreeing with this. Even Coptic says one will, one mind in the Trinity.
Because he sees that if there's more than one mind and more than one will, it would be polytheistic.
Right, but no. We don't care if he thinks polytheism. What I care about is it a creed or is it like a creedal thing or is it not? Because if it's not a creedal thing, then I would advise you to hold that there are three wills and three minds.
I think so. Yeah,
because then that's going to solve this logical problem here. And then we can
because you can't have a numerically one mind for three persons, right?
Because here's the problem. Just like remember when Coptic is saying no, there's like no three wills. No, Coptic is not. But here's the problem, right? If you have three wills, so if you have remember when we're criticizing the Chalcedonians by saying that if you have two natures, that's sufficient to have two persons, and that's going to get you to Nestorianism. Likewise, if you have three minds, you have three persons, because all it means to be a person, is to be a minded being.
But that's a problem by Saint when it comes to the Chalcedonians because they believe there are two minds for Christ.
No, but that's a different problem. Yes, they have.
Yes,
because if there's no way to distinguish between the hypostasis and the physis, that's going to entail Nestorianism, which is a heresy. But you have a different problem because as far as I know, you said no, we don't believe in monothelitism, we believe in neothelitism. But still, if you want to say there's just one will for the Trinity, there's one will for the Trinity.
One composite will, Saint. One composite will. Yeah.
Yeah, but you're still gonna have to say, look, the composite thing is uninteresting because composite just means that like there's one thing made out of several things. But if you have three persons,
but it's one thing, right? So
just like things, right. But like Adam, look, we say there's one Adam. That doesn't mean there are not two hands or two feet. There's still two hands, right? But here's the thing.
No, but that's not the same, right? That's not the same because in the composite you have two things uniting, right? And so
I agree, but you still have two things uniting. You have to. Okay, so the mixing thing. This is all just like metaphysical.
So this is why I'm giving
but like I grant you whatever metaphysical study you want. I grant you, but like I don't grant you the logic because the logic is where there's a problem. Here's the problem. Here's the problem. Even if you want to say there's a composite, you still need to say there's three minds if there are three persons. You don't get three persons without three minds.
Sure. Oh, no, but the Trinity is not a composite, right? It wouldn't be a composite.
Right, but but it doesn't matter if it's a composite or not. That just makes your case worse. Because look, if you use the Trinity, it's still going to be three persons. That's uncontroversial. Everybody on earth agrees the Trinity, except for like
three persons, yes.
Except for the modalists, like the modalists, and Brian Leftov, which actually I think he has like a decent version of the Trinity actually. If time travel is possible, whether or not that is possible or not is like a different topic. I think he actually like has like a somewhat of a progress in his version of the Trinity. But if you don't hold to a one-self view of the Trinity, like Brian Leftov, or like Pickup, and you obviously don't hold to Sabellianism, and you don't want to say that the Father suffered on the cross, obviously, because that's like explicitly condemned as a heresy. You want to hold to a three-person view of the Trinity, and once you hold to a three-person view of the Trinity, that just entails there are three minds. And now the question is going to be: is that a heresy? There's no problem. There's no logical problem. There's no conceptual problem.
I thought there would be a logical problem.
It's three minds, but is it one God?
Hold on. The challenge now is saying three minds a heresy or not? That's what I'm not sure of.
Are we forgetting the source where all of them are coming from? The spirit?
But you said there would be a problem in Christology, in the Metaphysical Christology. I want to know, like, when it comes to the Christology, where would be the problem?
Oh, this is the problem. The problem is if you just want to say there's one mind, there's going to be a problem. But if you say there can be three minds, because here's the thing, right? The personhood in modern philosophy and in modern terminology might differ from what you guys call hypostasis. So hypostasis might be a completely different thing than what we call mind, right? So hypostasis might just be I don't know.
Can I drop this in here? The easy reason why I say you're right about it'll be a problem with one mind, because it's a quick example. The example when the torch went from Elijah Muhammad to Malcolm X or Farrakhan, only reason why I didn't go to Malcolm X is because Malcolm X didn't have the mind of Elijah Muhammad, and they went to war. That problem you're talking about. And
I'm not talking about the nation of Islam.
I know. I'm talking about the mind. But Elijah Muhammad needed a mind that had his mind in him, because Master Farah Muhammad had Elijah Muhammad's mind to even carry it on further. And then the proof of that he had his mind, Elijah Muhammad would never be able to do what he did, and Farrakhan would never do what he did.
Okay, so what you did, Adam Coptic. Now you gave rise to another Trinity. Now you have like Louis Farrakhan and Wallace Fard Muhammad and Elijah Muhammad Trinity.
But they all say they are one with Allah. They don't never say that they're individually with three minds.
You're using mind wrong. You just mean an agreement when you say one mind.
Hold on. So like here's the thing. Like hypostasis and person, as we use person, are not necessarily the same thing, right?
And I still don't get what's wrong with the Christology. You're describing the Trinity, right? That there's one.
The problem is if you want to say there are three persons in one mind, then there's a problem.
For the Trinity, but not for the Christology, right? So
no. I never said about the Christology. I was always talking about. Remember,
because you said there's something wrong with our Christology.
Sorry. What I explicitly was talking about was like monothelitism. That's what explicitly I was talking about.
What's the problem
there? Because if you want to say there's one mind and three persons, I think that's a problem.
I think Saint, I was asking you about fully divine and fully man. You said that brings up another issue. You were saying that
for the Chalcedonians. Yes.
You were saying that there was another issue with that.
Say for the Christology,
there's like actually Chalcedonians.
When we looked at the Chalcedonians, me and you, Saint, we saw that it would be Nestorian, right? It's Nestorian.
Well, I think it's like the problem, Andrew, there is just like how can you avoid it from entailing Nestorianism? And what's interesting is that J.C. Beale holds to the Chalcedonian Creed and he grants it's contradictory, but he just solves it by paraconsistent logic. So there are like Christians who grant this criticism. I couldn't run that criticism on the top of my head. I'm more familiar with like the problem of the Trinity than the problem of like,
even if
Chalcedonian.
You're cutting out.
It doesn't get you out. Right,
even look. Right, so there's going to be two problems here. The first problem is the Chalcedonian Creed contradictory, and I think J.C. Beale thinks it is. In that case, you could solve that by appealing to paraconsistent logic. But then the second question is, does the Chalcedonian Creed entail Nestorianism? And that would still be a problem even if you adopted paraconsistent logic. So that would be the worry there. Yeah, so like look Coptic. Hold on. Just look what Coptic is saying. Like Coptic is saying there's nobody who believes in three minds. So that means that the solution here is going to be problematic because my critique of your view is that if you say there's only one will, you can't have three persons. Exactly. And your solution was no, we could just say there's three persons. But I'm saying that I'm saying that I might be wrong about this. I'm not like I don't know much about church history. I don't know much about creeds, right? I'm just like a layperson on that. But as far as I know, it's a heresy to affirm that there's more than one will. And if will is the same thing as a mind, it's going to be a heresy to say there's like three minds.
So if there's
that makes it more than one God then.
So Saint,
I agree with that, Mister. I think there would be more than one God.
So we know there's Satan, and then we know there's Allah. Two gods. Duh.
Hold on. Sorry, go ahead. What were we saying? Adam?
If you adopt pure relative identity, you would have one mind, though.
No. You would have one God, but still there would be the problem of the minds.
No, because you would have the same essence but distinct forms, and the essence would have just one mind.
But what about the knowledge issue, Adam? What about the knowledge issue between Christ knowing something,
exactly,
the Father knowing something that Christ doesn't?
Oh, we believe that in regards to the hour, like Mark 13:32. Oh yeah, So we say here this is declarative knowledge, right? So Jesus does know the hour, but he doesn't declare it. He's going to allow only the Father to declare.
But at the time he said that the Son does not know. The Son does not know, but only the Father. So you can say it's declarative.
Then he says, "You can know me this long."
You cutting out, Mister? But if he says that, Adam, at that time, does he know the hour? You're saying it's declarative, I understand, but is he? If it's just one mind, I mean, how does that work? How does that compartmentalization? Is that what you're saying? I mean, it's being compartmentalized in some way. I mean, the Father knows it, presumably at that time. The Father knows, right? There's no declarative sense in the Father. The Father knows it. He just knows what's going to happen, right?
Yeah, one explanation for this verse, which is I think our explanation, the Coptic explanation, would be that Jesus does know the hour, but he just doesn't declare it, because the word "know" in Mark 13:32 in the Greek can be interpreted as declare. So what he's saying here is only the father would declare, as it would be in Jewish customs, right? In, for example, marriages, it would be the father of the groom who would declare when the hour of the wedding would take place, right? And so here Jesus is making that same Jewish custom and tradition in declaring that only his father would declare the hour. But that doesn't mean that the son doesn't know the hour, right?
But see, I don't think. Here's the thing, right? I don't think the problem with the indexicals, and I don't think scripture matters because you can just interpret it any way you like.
And
I think the indexicals are a linguistic notion, not a propositional notion.
But say, pure relative identity would just have one mind and one.
No. Yeah, but I think there's still a problem there because let's say for argument's sake, right? You don't define persons the way personhood is defined in modern terminology, right? And I think that's what Coptic is saying.
I don't know how you. By the way, I spent hours and hours and hours trying to find the definition of hypostasis. Every time I do.
Right, but I think that's the problem, right? Because in modern terminology in philosophy today, when we say a person, all we mean is a minded being. That is a being, a thing with a mind.
A self-conscious agent. Yeah.
That's the same thing. Consciousness is a mind. Consciousness is a mind thing. All we mean by person is a thing with a mind.
That's correct.
Right? And if you define it that way, you have a big problem. But then you might say,
I think one way is in the Trinities I told you before, Saint, is they define it like Thomas Aquinas would define it as an individual substance of a rational nature.
Yeah, but I think Thomas Aquinas just believed there's one person.
Yeah, so that's his definition, an individual.
Yeah, but you don't agree. No, but what I'm saying is Thomas Aquinas and the Latin fathers.
I know. The modalism.
Person.
Right? Yes, I know.
Well, I don't think it's. Well, it is a form of modalism, but it's not Sabellianism. Right. It's not Sabellianism, right? And there are probably people are going to debate this, but like Brian Leftov and a lot of people take them to be just one-person Trinitarians. But your guys are either social Trinitarians or
I would say
relative Trinitarians, or you hold to like some kind of like self concept like Macintosh and others, which is also like a form of social Trinitarianism.
But you would say, I'm shocked to see you saying that Chad Macintosh's view is tritheism, even though you.
If you say the latter thing, yeah, I liked it if you drop the latter thing.
What's the latter thing though? Again,
that you say that each one is fully God. That's when you get tritheism.
Yeah, but he has to say that. We have to.
No, but I don't think so. Because remember, what you said is partialism is not a heresy, and partialism is the view that none of them are fully God, but together they make up God.
Even the Son we say is fully God, right? And so
then you're not partialist. Then you reject partialism.
Then we reject partialism.
Because remember, partialism is that they together make up God.
No. Then we reject partialism.
Right. But like, look, here's the thing. If partialism, in this sense, was never condemned as a heresy, I would just recommend you adopt partialism. That solves all your problems.
There's two ways I can go now, right? Pure relative identity or empirical system logic, I guess.
Yeah, but both of them just rejects classical logic, and that's fine. That's fine. Yeah. But remember, the logical problem with the Trinity is a problem that in classical logic you get a contradiction, or you have to adopt partialism, modalism, or tritheism. So you're not saying that the argument is unsound. You're saying yes, the argument is sound. I'm just biting one of the horns of the argument, which is the contradiction horn, and the way I solve it is by adopting a different form of logic. That's perfectly fine.
But relative identity would still be part of classical logic. You're just rejecting.
No. Well, I mean, but then you're modifying classical logic. It's not like fully classical logic. It's a modified.
It's not fully. It's part classical
logic. No, it's not. Look, paraconsistency rejects non-contradiction. This rejects identity. None of them are classical. This one does as much change to classical logic as paraconsistency does. This is no longer classical logic.
No. Pure relative identity would be classical logic.
No, it's not. It's not. Yeah. What is the difference between paraconsistency and classical?
Paraconsistency doesn't have the law of non-contradiction.
Exactly. And what's the difference between pure relative identity and classical logic?
Is that doesn't have the law of identity.
Exactly. Both of the paraconsistency and pure each reject one of the laws of classical logic.
But pure would be
they make as much differences to classical logic. They each reject a component.
But Saint, when you plug in the set, which system would you use to plug in the set for pure relative identity? You would go with classical logic.
No, it would be its own system. It'll be classical logic minus law of identity. But paraconsistent logic is just classical logic minus non-contradiction and minus
the. How about impure relative identity? Impure relative identity, where you
that gets you tritheism.
No. At the sub level, impure relative identity.
At the sub level, you might be. But like we care about like the. Yeah, but we care about like the whole level. Like in the whole logic, it's going to get.
I don't care about the.
You can't. No, but that's not how it works.
I care about the.
No, but that's not how it works. This is why Van Wagen abandoned his view, because even if you can tell a consistent story in one tiny part of the logic, as long as there's another part of the logic that's contradictory, that gives you the logical problem of the Trinity.
Hey, but Saint, Saint, check this out. Say if I was God, I need my mind in your mind, and how do you get it into that person you talking to mind? How would I get my mind in your mind and you get that mind into his mind? I'm gonna go away. You'll never see me again. Now the weight is all on your shoulders. How do you get that into the next person's mind? How do you get my will to him?
You see what you did now, Adam? Now these Nation of Islam Muslims also have their own version of the Trinity. Thanks to you.
Well, it's spread by a mind of Iris, as far as I can tell.
Well, just check it out. The Master Farah Muhammad had a mother that was a Caucasian. Master Farah Muhammad had a mother that was a Caucasian and a father that was black. He came to North America to judge North America due to the fact that he couldn't come early in the 1930s because you cannot teach black people right doctrine without getting lynched or killed. So the African man found a Caucasian woman in the Caucasus Mountain, cleaned her up, and made a child. Had 2 children.
See what you did, Adam?
Yeah, he had 2 children, and now he got a son that looks like Master Farah Muhammad in the middle, like a white man. He could come amongst white people, and nobody would say he's a black man. So he can judge. He's judging both worlds, the black world and the white world.
One second, Mister. Just one question before I go back to Adam. I just have one question. Could you just answer me like a yes or no question? Now, Wallace Fard Muhammad. That's the guy in the middle, right?
No, that's Elijah Muhammad's son. He's not. Wallace Muhammad is his son. Elijah Muhammad is on the left side. You saying the first WD? Yeah, that's right. You're right.
No. Yeah, I'm saying Wallace.
Elijah Muhammad named his son after Master Farah Muhammad, which is WD.
Yeah. But the guy in the middle in your picture, that's like Wallace Fard Muhammad. That's the founder of the Nation of Islam.
That's right? God. Elijah Muhammad is the father.
Right.
Farrakhan is his son.
Hold on. The guy in your profile picture, the guy in the middle.
He's considered the Holy Ghost, God.
Right.
And the father of the nation is Elijah Muhammad, the first person that rose from the dead.
Hey, Miss,
right.
Was so
hold on.
Was he the first with the information?
I have a question. Can I ask a question?
Master Farah Muhammad, was he the first?
1 second, Moscow. Let me just get an answer to my question. You guys can answer him. I just want my question answered. The guy in the middle in your profile picture, is that Wallace Fard Muhammad or is that not Wallace Fard Muhammad?
Yes, it's W.D. Muhammad, W.F. Muhammad. Yep.
Right. Okay. Do you believe that guy was Allah? Do you believe that was Allah in the flesh?
No, I believe that Allah appeared in him. I don't believe that's the embodiment of the Creator from the beginning. His spirit appeared in him. That's what I believe. And that spirit dwelled in that man, and it dwelled in Elijah. And now we got the continuation of the spirit of Allah, not the continuation of the spirit of Master Farah Muhammad. Master Farah Muhammad is not the God that created the universe. The spirit of Allah.
Adam Kopsek, you see what he did, Adam Kopsek? This is what
the spirit of Allah. But I'm saying the spirit that's been around for billions of years is the will that entered Master Farah Muhammad. That mind. I mean, I'm sure the universe is over a couple of billion, maybe even trillions.
Okay.
See, what if I
This conversation is elevated, Venus.
what way outside my empirical system logic?
So let Adam speak. I'm talk.
Yeah, I believe in empirical system logic. What would be then the logical problem for the Trinity?
Well, then you're just admitting that the logical problem with Trinity is a sound argument in classical logic, but then you say because I don't
Yeah,
hold to classical logic,
I don't believe in
right?
classical logic.
Right, but then you're granting the argument, but you're just saying because I don't believe in classical logic, it's not a problem for
Yeah,
me.
so under empirical system logic, what would be the problem?
I don't think there's a problem
there,
then.
there you go. Then we solve the problem, right?
But under pair-consistent logic, while rejecting classical logic, is pair-consistent logic even pair-consistent logic?
Oh, that was a good one. Y'all got to make that small enough for a baby to understand it. Say that again, but give me some milk when you say it.
Well, sorry, JJ, what are you asking?
I told you I'm a baby, man. I'm like second grade. I got to break that down.
If Adam indeed rejects classical logic, did he run away?
No, Adam doesn't run. Adam doesn't run. He just
He'll be back.
Well, 1 second. He called me private. 1 second.
He said he believes in pair-consistent logic, and then he rejects classical logic.
Right. No, I see what you're saying, JJ. That seems a problem. That seems to be a problem because, like, how are you identifying pair-consistent?
How is pair-consistent logic even pair-consistent logic then? How can he?
Right. Yeah. No, that seems legit.
It's just a bunch of nonsense.
Oh, no, Brody, go ahead.
No, why pair-consistent logic is problematic for you, JJ.